The viewer assumes that just outside the frame of the screen is more of the same of what is in the frame of the screen, although this doesn't have to be the case. You, as the videographer, can take advantage of this situation by discovering places in your local area that may look good just in frame, but otherwise out of frame would be unsuitable. The viewer will assume that objects unrelated on the same field of plane that match up are somehow related to each other. The viewer will assume standard perspective in a scene unless something enters the scene to tell him differently. The viewer assumes because of their forward and frame position, the persons up front are talking about the person in the distance. The viewer assumes because the vehicle of transportation is going from left to right, that is actually traveling from west to east. With the proper setups, you can tell a story by just framing. In what ways can you use illusions in your next video to make your viewer assume? And now let's look at a combination of techniques to make your video better. First, what you don't want to do. No lighting or on-camera lighting just isn't going to cut it. Some professional lights on stands look a little bit better, but you're going to take it a step further. How about using some nice creative lighting with gels? Or even better, let's also add a background. Look at the before and after. Big difference. We also used a $150 fog machine for a film type look. We combined four things: action toward the camera, creative lighting, conflict, and a creative background. Using a combination of techniques will allow you to progress to a higher level of videographer. Now, I know that you're thinking that some of the shots on this video are things that you may never use. And that may be true. As I said, if you only use a few of them, then it's going to be well worth your money. But the fact is that you know them. You're a master camera person. These are things that you should know, that you should have in your repertoire. So when you go out there and you get stuck on the job, or you're in a particular situation, this is the kind of shots or the kind of concepts that, what I say, separates the men from the boys or the girls from the women. It brings out the best in you, and it's important because you have them in your bag of tricks that you can use them or use some variation when you're out on the job. And make sure you review this tape. It's important to not only, unlike with Volume 1, you could probably watch it a few times and just sort of through osmosis absorb. In this Volume 2, you have to practice the concepts and do them when you're not on the job. Create your own commercials, make your own mini films. I promise, do your storyboards. I promise you, when you get done with doing those, and if you do it for a few weeks and think of it as like a film class or a video class, advanced video class, you will be a much better videographer and have a much broader view of concepts, and you will be better and sharper, and most important, more confident on the job. So I urge you to practice and try these things, even though they might not be part of your special events or sports or commercial repertoire. Expand yourself, become more of a filmmaker and a videographer, and it will pay off. But you have to do it when you're not on the job, and you have to practice, and you have to remember that this is what you do for a living. So you have to, like the baseball players going to spring training, and the football players going to fall training or whatever. You have to get into training, and there's only one way to do that, and that's doing it when you're not on the job and taking the things that you saw on this tape and actually doing them because you're not getting paid to, but because you know it'll make you a better videographer and you can have fun being creative. That's it. Done.
Does it and move fast. And put it up a little bit above his helmet, John. Okay, yeah, right ready? There. Yeah, go for it. All of it. All of it. Lower, lower, lower. Oh, I got you in the shot. Don't get in the shot. Big spurts, yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, let's fill it up one more time.
Up next, we have some behind-the-scenes bonus footage that I wanted to add into the video, things that I didn't quite get in earlier, and I'll give you a chance to see a little bit about how things were done. Here's Florence with the outdoor chroma key and the fan on her face. Once again, using chroma key outdoors can be very effective.
And so we can see what it is.
Here's Josh with the tent.
Stand up and pull it out. And
Now notice the tent is just one of those bulletin boards with a piece of nylon wrapped around it and some gaffer's tape to simulate a zipper. It's very two-dimensional, but if you put it up near the rocks and position the person in front, it's very three-dimensional. Video is all about illusion. We recommend you use walkie-talkies on long-range shots. Long-range meaning when you zoomed in really far at a distance, you have to yell at the people in the distance. So you'll notice I'm talking to Nick on the walkie-talkie, and these walkie-talkies, the little micro-channel ones, are really helpful.
Her hair in the sun too. No, she's in the sun. The one in the blue. We need her.
Here's a little behind-the-scenes footage of the rain shot that we did, taken from a different angle. Doug with the hose. You notice our people have Nick on camera with glasses in their hand. We always recommend props too. We just talked about soft lights and how it can highlight an outside area, whether it's daytime or getting night like it is now. Right now I'd like to show you about highlighting the background area too with lights. It's not that obvious, but Stephanie is going to turn off the soft lights right now, one at a time. First she'll do the one on my right, and then we can get Andy to do the one on the left. Go ahead. And you'll notice if we turn it off, the background is sort of lit up here. It looks like, you know, very well lit situation, and that's because we're using a quartz halogen light. As a matter of fact, Steph will pull back. We'll leave these lights off. Steph's going to pull back and show the shot right now of behind. It's a $90 light on stand. They sell for about $50 to $90. We got the heavier duty version, and that's lighting up the background, as well as we have this little 70 watt on the lamppost. And she'll zoom in again, and we'll turn on the lights to the left and the right, and we'll go back to the difference. And this is just a nice way, they use it on the news a lot, of getting a good background lit and foreground lit too. If you don't have something for the background to lit, look around for a building or some kind of situation where you can highlight your area using lights. Here's an alternative way to add motion to the background scene that we didn't use. Just using some playground equipment, and we didn't use it. I think the background was going a little too fast here, but it's a neat, novel way to get a moving background. Here's some behind-the-scenes footage at Nick, only his second time ever calling a live shoot of a Beatles band we did.
Camera 2, pull out, and camera 2, you're on the air. Camera 3, stay there. Camera 3, you're on the air. Camera 4, don't move. Okay, camera 4. And camera 4, you're on the air. Camera 3, let's get up. One shot here. Camera 1, let's move in and pan. Camera 1, move in for a pan shot, left or right. Camera 2, you're on. Okay, camera 1, you're on with the wide shot. Camera 3, let's move into a pan shot, left or right.
One thing we didn't talk about in the main body of the tape is using a car also as a dolly. Hey, it has 4 big wheels and it's smooth. Here's some shots that we did just using a car as a dolly for a conversational scene where our actors had a wireless microphone on.
Yeah, but maybe if you ripped out some seats or something. I don't know. Either way it goes.
Did you get that on film? Because I want to put together an outtakes reel of all this stuff. You wouldn't dare.
You know that, Steve. You need to cut down on the coffee.
Cut. Well, we slaughtered that one.
And action. Cut. Okay, it's adding a little background. But again, it's good to separate your lights as you switch them on and off to see what is affecting what. Now we'll add the background lights and the accent light in order, and this is all you need to know about lighting. And now the foreground light. If you were just to use overhead light, Joe the cameraman will switch the overhead light on. Joe, would you hit the switch right by you right there? Okay, this just wouldn't really look too attractive because it's not what you're looking for. So flip it off. It just has that overhead look. So instead, we're going to use a soft light, and Nick will now switch on the soft light. We use a small silver dome by Photoflex that we love, and the problem we had was that the soft light in this small room was not separating the background that much, so we had to tilt the soft light away, and we could go ahead, aim it on me totally. It'd be a little harsh and washed out. And the problem with this is, although Joe could stop down the image and the whole thing, adds a little too much shadows, and if he were to stop down the image more, the background would get too dark. So go ahead and pull the soft light away. So we pulled the soft light away and bounce it more to the wall. Matter of fact, Joe, if you can get a shot of Nick and the soft light, if you'll notice, look at how ugly the set is all by itself. Look at that. It's he's just bouncing it toward the wall. And the cardboard, point to the cardboard, Nick, that you have back there. That is just a little thing that we put up there to try to separate the light a little bit more from the background green that you see on the wall back there. A lot of people use real, cards and stands and stuff. We're lazy, and so we took a piece of cardboard from a table.
Here's a brief look inside our production band, the Long Distance Runners, and an extra deck below and above our switcher and our DSR 30, all ready to switch. Here's us experimenting with the BVP4 Plus color corrector, just having some fun, seeing the different kind of shades of blue and orange and green and yellow you can get with the water. It'd be great, for a sci-fi movie.
We wanted to use some low-cost lighting to show you that it really doesn't matter what you can get some creative backgrounds with no excuses of, oh, I couldn't afford that. But you can afford these lights because they're about $3, and the clamp and stands are around $5. Of course, it's better to buy the expensive ones with the gels and filters because you get a little less rich light, but this is our kicker light, the background, another $8. So what have we got so far? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The whole background is $25 in lighting or so, 20, maybe under 30. A couple more lights with the stands. We used a couple props, and you're going to find that old technology, for some reason, looks better sometimes than new technology, like the old film cameras or antiques in the background. And really, that speaker is an old antique. It's a classic Mach 1 like Jerry Seinfeld had on his set, used for many years in a disc jockey show back in the 70s or 80s, and an old drum machine up top. The nice old technology gives a nice flavor and balance to the modern stuff.
This shot here is from Warner Brothers Channel 22 here in Arkansas, where they do a news show. It's a virtual set in that it's sort of like chroma key, except the cameras, when they zoom in and out or pan to the left and right, the background follows with the foreground. That's why it's called like a virtual set. So no matter where they zoom in or position, the set changes. That set in the background is fake. It's not actually there, but it looks pretty real. Here's a shot of what the set looks by itself off the compositing computer monitor, and a few of the operators here. It doesn't take as many people to run a news show as it used to in the old news day. It can keep pretty simple with all the small electronics. And 2 cameras and 2 people, some teleprompter. This is the whole organization that's doing the news right there, and the wires in the background. And that's one of their little editing machines. Technology's really gotten stuff smaller. This is the television station's master control room. Just want to get a couple shots of it to thought you'd find it interesting. Here's Joe giving directions to our restaurant actors. And finally, I just wanted to say, enjoy video, have fun. It's great to be a filmmaker, a videographer. You can do a lot of neat things that normal people with normal jobs can't do. Enjoy yourself, and happy video making.